Good morning, Jim. Probably muted.
Hey guys, how are you? Hey Melissa.
Hey, Jim, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
We're doing pretty good.
Awesome. Good to see you, Forrest.
Horse is ready to show us what a rock star he is today. This is awesome. I'm excited.
Good.
Yeah,
Good. Hey Dana Toms. We had Alicia, Freya, Adam. All right. Sounds good. Let's do it.
I've had a busy couple of weeks. I,
Yeah.
I had I had the mastermind from Augie's meeting.
Oh, you did.
It would turn out really good. There were such good people at that meeting, so that turned out really, really good. And then last week last week I had my leadership team meeting that I took my leaders out of town for like 3 days and
That's nice.
plan 2025. And then right after that, went out of town to go to Austin to speak at Lisa J's event.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
And we did get about 40 people signed up for the for our discount program.
Good.
And then just got back into town. Oh, and while I was there, I actually got to come in on a day of the lenders mastermind that they had from Share the Love with all of those guys.
I
It kind
just
of
talked to Tony Williams a few minutes ago. That sounded good too.
Yeah, it was really good. I had a good day. So, oh yeah, this I we normally have a lot more people show up here. I'm not quite sure what's going on here.
I just wonder if there was an issue with the emails and things, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, maybe. I did talk to my team about that this morning.
'Cause
Uh,
I didn't get
yeah, I
it.
did talk to my team about that this morning, and we'll definitely go through it. We actually have 2,000 names on that email list.
It's good.
So now people are popping in here. People are used to hopping in a couple minutes late. There we
Mhm.
go. Stephen Fryer, our bearded Canadian friend. How's your beard coming? Are you going to be Christmas Santa Claus this year, Stephen?
Hmm.
Well, cool. Morning, Paul. Morning, Matt. Morning, Dana. So how have you been, Jim?
I am busy, but I'm good also. I'm busy because we were away last week. So
Yeah, that's how,
anytime you're away for a few days, you got to come back and get rolling.
that's how it goes. All right. Well, it's 4 after here, so um I think this is the right PowerPoint. Yeah, here we go. All right. All right, everybody, welcome to Dealmaker. Is this the right one? Yeah, I think it is. Okay. Welcome to our calls. We do this calls every single month. If you're a leader and you're watching this live or you're watching this on the replay, just keep in mind, remind all of your members that this is one of the benefits that we give out every single month for all of the deal makers around the country, really trying to add value and do as much as we possibly can. Last month's call was Eric Vogel, did a great job. Honestly, if you haven't watched that, I would really go back and watch Eric's call. Did a really good, talk about how to create your vision for your life. And it's something that I think a lot of people don't do super well. Next month, December 17th. I know it's holidays, guys, and this is kind of one of those times where people kind of slack off on staying with the community, but we did this a little early on purpose. So Lisa J, wonderful girl here in Texas, she's going to talk about short-term rentals and midterm rentals. So I'm excited to hear from her about that. So just the next call is going to be December 17th, and we'll make that happen. Want to remind everybody about the Deal Maker, Gary, September 4 through 6. And then also you guys can get the videos from last year at last year's event. But upcoming, we've got a couple things coming up. First of all, I don't have a slide for this. I really need to get a slide, but there is a deal maker that was rescheduled for January. Jim, you want to give a little information about that deal maker in Orlando?
Sure. And Tom, if you're able to like share this to your personal profile, that would be awesome. But the one in January is going to be January 8, 9, and 10 in Orlando. And it's going to be 3 days of deep dive training on private lending. This is good for people both borrowing and for becoming the lender, both sides of that equation, which Tom, you and I do both sides, which is always the best way to go. It's going to be amazing. And then in March, we have our annual deal maker. It's going to be great. It's actually March 26, 27, and 28. And that one's starting to fill up already as well. So it's going to be great. Maybe, Tom, you could drop your links right in there, or I'll put them in if you don't have yours.
Yeah, I think my team can do that. So I think Freya or Amelia, if you guys want to drop the links for those events in there, that would be awesome. So this definitely you don't want to miss March. I promise you.
It's 26, 27, 28. It is it's going to be amazing. The venue is so big and so much better, Tom. And there's a lot more space, which means we get a lot more people in. It's growing and it's going to be great.
I'm actually so excited about this event, probably way more excited than any other event I've ever been a part of. So you guys, I promise you, you're going to want to be there. If you've never been to an event, this is the one to go to. But if you're a lender of any kind, if you're going to be a borrower or a lender, you definitely want to get in the January event as well. I think this only has a couple more rooms left available, guys. I've talked to Tom and those guys with this. Jim's supposed to be on this event. Are you still
I'm
going
going to be there as well. And I was talking with Tony Williams a little while ago. He's coming. I mean, Mike Hicks is coming. It's going to be a great cruise. It's going to be fun to go to Aruba with you, Tom.
Yeah.
But the networking will truly be epic.
Yeah, there's 4 whole days of cruising, which we normally don't have that in these cruises because Aruba's so far away. And I've never been to Aruba too. So
Me
most of the
neither.
time when you go on these cruises, it's not really anything special because you've already been to all the places. But I've never been to Aruba, so I'm really excited about that. It's an amazing ship too, guys. If you haven't been on some of the new big cruise ships of Royal, really cool water shows. They have a drone show that'll knock your socks off. But if nothing else, to get to spend a whole week with guys like Jim Ingersoll and Tom Nardone and Mike Hicks and all these people, I promise you, I've learned a ton on these cruises. I've probably been on 10 investor cruises over the last 10 or 12 years. And I've gotten tons of relationships. So if you guys can go on that, that'd be awesome as well. So just remind everybody, next month is Lisa J and Forrest McGhee. So Forrest McGhee is a rock star in Richmond. He's got his own local club there. Me and Jim just got to be there with him a couple months ago, there about a month or two ago. But Forrest is going to talk about his first flip, and I think sometimes people don't hear all the mistakes people make, but Forrest is going to just bear it all and tell everybody all those mistakes he made on his first, flip. And then he's going to kind of talk about, like deal maker and kind of like, so he did his first flip before he was in the community. And then after that, he got a community and he hired a mentor. And then he's going to kind of show how that community has helped him. And then he's going to kind of show some of his more recent flips, how he learned how to flip correctly after he learned how to, flip correctly. And then also him and his wife have an amazing staging business. And he's going to give some insights on how, that's been able to help him with his flipping business. So without further ado, I'm just going to hand it over to Forrest and let you take the floor. Welcome, Forrest. Thanks for being on today. We appreciate you. You're muted still, I think, there, Forrest. Sorry. Amelia, do you need to unmute him or you're...
That's good. I got it now. All right, perfect. Hey, so my name is Forrest, and just wanted to kind of introduce myself and let everybody know why I'm here. From Richmond, Virginia. I've been doing real estate this is my 10th year. So March would be my 11th anniversary of this crazy ride of real estate. But back in, I'll just go ahead and, click things off. I'm going to share my screen real quick and be a good steward of everybody's time. So, everybody should be able to see my screen. And if everybody can see my screen, yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm a deal maker. That's what I do. Like Jim alluded to about the lending event in Orlando early next year, right? I'm on both sides of the deal. I like to, create financing. I like to use financing. We take properties as they come to us that I feel is a good opportunity. Um, and then a lot of good opportunities I just don't have time with, or I just don't want to do. So we do, let those out, to other people to go make money with. So um, my first deal was in 2014, and I pretty much did everything completely wrong. So let me kind of break this down for you. So this house is in Richmond, really nice area. It's right next to a really, really nice area. But of course, we, kind of thought when the neighborhood is in the neighborhood and then you got somebody in the outlier, they don't always comp correctly. And so, that was really our first mistake on this one. We kind of thought the price was a little too high. Excuse me. We kind of thought the value was higher than it actually was. And this house, which you don't see, is it has a completely full basement that's finished and sucked, a whole lot of our money away. So the house was way too big. I underestimated the scope of work, overestimated my ability, and decided that I would, do most of this stuff myself. And so, I spent, 6 long months of day in and day out, uh, doing slave labor in this house, fixing just about everything from the floors to the ceiling. I decided that, I was going to take my taste, my preferences, and, what I thought would, have sellability into the thing. So I did recessed lights. I did, tile where I probably should have just done, some plank flooring. Um, you name it, I subjected my personal taste into it. And then we had issues that, came up like that wall, it had to get removed. So that was unexpected, equipment rental and, some disposal fees and some landscaping that had to get done. And this was a second kitchen that I should never have done. I mean, of course, it doesn't look like much, but after you do the plumbing and all that stuff, I thought it'd be great to have a second kitchen down there. And I mean, to me it was, but who knows if it was a good deal or not? It was a waste of money. And then so this is a regular kitchen, that we had done. Put a refrigerator. I don't do that anymore. And you know, it just looked like a nice house. And then this is another thing. I'll never do a tile this small again in my life. Right, the larger the tile, the better. That's my new opinion on life. So me and my wife at the time, she was helping me, not doing the home staging business, but she was helping me stuff like this, and she thought we could do this tile and it would be fun. So it turned out to be a really nice house, but the problem is it took too long. And I had a partner in the deal that, was the lender. And what ended up happening is we were supposed to take this thing to market during the summertime. And it ended up being in the middle of winter, and we priced it at the top of the market. We couldn't get it sold. He got discouraged. I got discouraged. Nobody made any money. He ended up doing a rent to own. They didn't exercise their option. I ended up renovating this house a second time. They smoked in it. And so we had to repaint the house and get rid of the smoke smell. And still didn't get paid. So I lost I lost twice on one deal. And so but interesting after this property, okay, after this house right here, what ended up happening is that relationship ended. So I lost money, I lost time. The only thing I got out of this deal was knowledge of what not to do on the next one. So lost the partner, lost the friendship, lost money on the house, just lost everything but knowledge. And so at the end of this flip, my father was kind of helping me sporadically through this thing, and he saw the relationship not going good on the partnership, and he saw an opportunity for him and I to work together. So he actually had gone to one of the Dealmaker events that Jim had hosted, a 3-day event in town, and he came to me, and I'll never forget it till the day I die. He goes, "I know where to find the money. I know where to find the deals. I know how to find the contractors. I know everything about flipping. I went to this 3-day class. You want to do it with me?" And I was like, sure, right? What else was I gonna do? And so we set off and decided that we were going to get better. So I went to the next deal maker, and then we took on a mentor, and we just started doing the system the right way, and you know, never looked back. So so what I did, differently was, I didn't do everything myself. There's a couple things that I'll do just because I like doing them, and if it makes me happy, then I'll do them. But I don't, build a whole house myself or renovate it myself. We decided that we were going to, just do what our previous experience has taught us and just be the general contractor. And then the other thing, that we had to build out, so with that, we had to build out a team of contractors and subs and people to do stuff for us. And um, then, we had to figure out, okay, well, who are we going to choose for lending partners? So we used, hard money here in Richmond for our first few deals until we were able to form relationships where we could use private money. Um, and then, every once in a while you get, these little deals that, you just throw your money in on and take care of that way. And then, the opportunity is going to present itself sooner or later for you to figure out some creative strategies. So fortunately, my mentor was big on that, creative strategies. And, of course, with Dealmaker, I mean, we talk about creative strategies all the time. And we're closely, all these groups are closely, knit together. And so like I went to an event called What Box, down in Georgia, I think it was, in Atlanta or whatever. And that's just talking about all deals are possible, right? It's just, you just got to have the knowledge and experience to know, what box that house goes in. So as we grew, I ended the business with my father and, went off on my own. And at the same time, my wife was starting her home staging business. And so, in working in the home staging business with her, helping her grow that to where she could hire employees and I could get out of that, we were able to go see a lot of flip properties. Like, I mean, like she was staging at some point. I mean, shoot, just Jim's houses, right? Just Jim's houses. She was staging 2 to 3 a week sometimes when he was when he was a flip mogul. Uh, so we got to see a lot of things of what really makes a house sell. And I remember one time, I was going through this one house, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's wrong. Oh my gosh, that doesn't look good. And my wife just goes, "Hey, we're here to stage a house, not buy it. Come on over here, let's go." And I was like, "All right." So anyway, that's when I kind of realized that, less is more in a house, right? It's not about me. It's about, how you're going to make this house appealing to the largest buyer pool possible so you get the most money possible. And so, you oftentimes you're giving away money when you put your taste into a home. You're just giving it away. I can't say it any other way. And sometimes there's people aren't going to like those fancy lights, right? So I keep just the simple things simple, and I take out everything that doesn't look like a house, and I put the house back the way that a house should look. I don't go crazy. I don't take out walls. I don't do this and that. I don't do structural beams. I mean, if I say if that wall is there when I bought it, then God wanted it there for a reason. So there's no reason for me to take it out. Um, if I have a big deck, I take those things are money pits. Everybody here probably knows that. If it's a big deck, I make it a little deck, right? I mean, I just I there's no need for it. I have the exact, I just there's no need to spend all my money on a house, right? My job is to make money, not spend money. Um, and then another thing I learned, we have, in Richmond, we have a lot of great talent. And so one time, we were, speaking with Rich Lennon, and he was talking about how, he never puts refrigerators in there. His agent said, "What are you doing that for?" So he stopped doing it and never looked back. And I said, "Well, that's a great idea, right? I mean, what's that, $1,000 bill sitting in your pocket, that you didn't have to spend?" So I stopped doing it and never looked back, right? I mean, we've done 10, 20, 30, 40 flips with no refrigerators, and I've never had anybody say, "Hey, there's no refrigerator," right? Um, so just simple things like that just keep $1,000 bills in your pocket. Um, so what is important, right? So we had this one house. Sorry. So this house right here is 5624 Chamberlain, and we sold this house. Um, so this house was an interesting deal, but like, they smoked in this house for like 20 years. So, it gets me to what's important in a house, right? A house has to smell clean, right? And, more often than not, your buyer's not going to be a smoker. So, that's important to them. So, this property we had to, basically, we had to encapsulate that. So, there's ways to do it properly. And so we encapsulated that smell into the house forever. And when they demo this house, they'll start smelling the smoke again. But, we were able to get that out of there and make it a nice home. So we did the roof and we did the siding and, painted the foundation, made it look good. And then, this is the kitchen. So we went to top of the market on this deal, and we had the funding. And so let me back up on this one. So I forgot the best part. I couldn't wholesale this deal. Okay. I tried. I tried to wholesale this thing for $10,000, and I could not get anybody to buy this property. And it was in the right neighborhood. It was in the right time of the market, and I just knew it was a deal. And I was like 10 days away from. I was like 10 days away from losing this contract. And I was like, man, I just know this is a deal. And, sometimes you just know it. And so I had the ability to flip. So I said, okay, I'm just going to flip this thing. I'm just going to take it myself. I called a hard money lender in Richmond who, if it's a deal, he'll say yes. And he said yes. We had this thing closed, and we had it funded and closed in the 10 days that I needed to get it done. And I just flipped this bitch, man, and I did a really good job. And so, we did, the floors, and we did the cabinets, and we did, this and that, and make it look beautiful. And we just neutralized everything, but gave some bragging rights. I say one of the necessities in a home is bragging rights for the women. They have to, be like, hey, come here and look at my kitchen, or hey, come here and look at this flooring, or hey, come here and look at this feature. So that was just one of the things. And I don't always do kitchens. I'm famous for, I had one time a flip down in Hopewell. The cleaners go, why didn't you paint the cabinets? I said, I didn't need to. And, the house still sold for top of the market in less than 10 days on the market. And, um, you just don't need to tear everything out. Sometimes it's okay to leave things the way they are and just put some countertops on it, be done with it. So, anything that a buyer can touch, I like to fix or replace. So that just either like, new doorknobs, new hinges, new light switches, new receptacles, new cabinet pulls, the appliances. Nobody wants a greasy, microwave and a greasy range. I think that's a big shows that you're a little too cheap when you do stuff like that. But yeah, anything a buyer can touch, that's the kind of stuff that I focus on, and I really don't focus on much other than that. And the proofs in the pudding. So, excuse me, this is the same room as this room. I couldn't find the staging pictures on this, but anyway, point is we do some accent colors, and this it was all wood, and it was dark, and it was just nasty. And so this was where he did most of his smoking. So this one had to take a lot of paint and a lot of uh, encapsulation of the walls to get this done. But we did, and it turned out beautiful. And so let's see. So this is the big deck, and this is what I did with it. I made it into a little deck, exactly what I tell everybody else to do. And it turned out great, man. I mean, you can't argue with that. So, and then so we borrowed 159,000 on this house. We sold it for 315. Our due to seller on the HUD was 122.7. So, and that was with a less is more approach, right? That wasn't, fancy light fixtures. That wasn't, I never buy a ceiling fan over $100. I just, less is more. And, that's the story here is what do they say? They say, uh, it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. Right. So, right. So, in the tax world, so it's the same thing here, right? You can spend all your money you want, and that net to seller can be as small as you want, but there's no point in it, right? I mean, you should be spending your own money, not the other people sitting there throwing your light fixtures away. So, this is another story of how we learned to do it correctly. This is Elmstone. This is over in a area of Midlothian that is quite desirable. And this story is pretty unique. I got a Bing PPC lead on a Sunday morning, and I I looked at the address and I was like, this can't be real, right? This must be a mistake or a fake lead or something like that. And, I did what I do. I called them up and I said, what's going on? And they was like, hey man, I need to sell my house. I'm like, well, is this the right address? He goes, yeah, it's the right address. I said, well, can I come out right now? And he said, yeah. Like I said, this is a Sunday afternoon, right? And I got a Bing ad. And so I go out there with a contract in hand. You always take the contract with you. That's purchase number one, rule number one, take the contract with you. And so he had to sell. The guy had a real problem and he needed a real solution. And so he was asking $600,000. We bought it with renovation money in the loan at 501, but he carried a second, which is how creative financing can really work to your benefit, because my lender would only lend on 350. So the guy had to carry a second for 150 for the duration of the flip. And it was zero money, zero payments. He was just going to make, I think I got him at 10% flat, 10% flat interest on that. So it made it appetizing enough for him to carry that second. And I didn't think of this, right? I mean, none of us are born with this knowledge, right? I mean, my lender said, hey, I'll lend this much. And I was like, well, that's not all the money. He goes, well, just get the seller to carry a second. I'm like, huh? He goes, just go do it. And he did, right? And it's amazing when you ask them. A lot of times people say yes. So it made a no deal into a super deal. And so let me see here. All right, so this is the master bedroom. This guy, I mean, he wasn't a very clean human, and this is what it looked like after my wife staged it, and after we renovated it and everything, and it turned out quite beautiful. And then this is the dining room, which you can't see is, they got all this, beautiful chair molding and this beautiful detail underneath of it. And so we used the accent color. This is the same accent color that we use in all of our houses, the one I just showed you before. And this one, it's the same accent color, and it just pops, man. It works great. It works great with your grayish. It matches, we use I forget what we use a grayish color, and it matches with it. We had another interesting thing we did on this is, I was a little nervous about this. So, I had Sherwin-Williams color person come in and do the colors for the house with me and everything. And that's a free service, so if anybody's, a little stumped, right, just reach out to these people and it's all free. I mean, it's all free. It's their job. They get paid whether they come see or not. And so this is the living room. And so, it was very vanilla. It was a newer home. So we just had to add some color and some pop. And so this is what it ended up being. We just, took that same accent color and just, made something that was completely vanilla and just blended into the back. We turned it into something that was a focal point. And of course, Dealer knocked it out of the park with staging. And we did a good job with the flip. I mean, we did the right things, right? So, what did I do that was right? Right. We got rid of the smells, all the flooring was right, all the painting was right. We did pretty awesome landscaping. So being a higher end property, I did have to think a little bit outside the box of my cost effective, measures. So I did some of that pretty landscape lighting that shines up on the house and, makes the house look pretty at nighttime. And, we did these high end appliances that had Wi-Fi and stuff like that, so these people could feel all cool with their new appliances that they can talk to on their phone. And but this thing had a clean out, so we had 4 30-yard containers on this property of stuff that we had to get out of this thing. 4 30-yard. It was just stuff that they just left behind, and so. We bought this thing at 501, like I said. We sold it at 689.5, and we netted 115.9. So that was a good deal. And, at the time, that was the largest one. But if we back up to Chamberlain was more money and less risk. And that's kind of like, that kind of shaped my focus moving forward. It's kind of like, you can have as much risk exposure as you want, but the whole point here is to make as much money for the smallest amount of risk as possible. So I just kind of, reshape myself. It's cool. This is bragging rights. And, it is an awesome house. You can drive by it. You can say, I flipped that house. But at the end of the day, it's really just about how much money you keep. And, so, I came up with, just basically my top three lessons in flipping houses. And, if you're okay, I'll just share them with you.
Yeah.
Okay. So, smarter project management and efficient investment, right? You have to, I thought I could save money by doing most of the work myself, but that approach, it took your timeline too long and it cut into my profits. And, so by, stepping back from the daily activity and becoming the contractor, um, and then really being laser focused on my scopes and not letting that get out of control and not paying for, one light when another light that's less expensive does the same thing that lights up a room. Another interesting thing that I do that I learned from Jim and some of his flips is I always thought that, a bedroom should have a light or a ceiling fan. And that's just not true, right? If that bedroom doesn't have a light, I'm not putting it in there, right? And the staging company can bring a little table lamp and put it on there, and that'll light up the room just fine. So that saves, if you're got to hire an electrician, that saves hundreds of dollars, right? You do that 3 bedrooms, that turns into thousands of dollars. So less is more, and you have to understand that it's okay, right? It's okay to not do certain things. So, lesson number two is a balanced renovation approach. I realized that, over flipping properties is completely unnecessary. High-end features they do nothing but take your money. So, a place needs to be clean, it needs to smell good, and it has to have good floors, and it has to have some bragging rights for these people, whether it's, a cool vanity in the bathroom, whether it's, a nice kitchen feature, or whether it's something that these people can brag about, when they're having their housewarming party and go, hey, go look at the kitchen, or hey, go look at this bathroom. And then the third lesson here is, right, there's all kinds of ways to structure a deal. And so, creative financing and deal structuring is just as important as the flip, right? Your percentage rates, your loans. I hear people that get, private money and hard money loans. I'm just like, my jaw drops at how much money they're paying, right? It's like, why would you ever do that? Well, because they don't know, right? They don't know that there's other people out there, in our community that are willing to give them fair rates and fair, cost of money to get their job done. So, understanding the art of the deal is I mean, it's really the first step. I mean, if you get a deal cheap enough, you can make some mistakes and overspend some things on some renovations. But if you get your deal too high, you have no room for mistakes. So you have to go in with the number one mindset that it's just about the numbers. And if the numbers don't work, the numbers don't work. Um, and I had a mentor one time, and early in my career, he said it's better to be out of a good deal wishing you were in than being in a bad deal wishing you were out. Right. And that really resonated with me, right? Be selective, right? I mean, it's okay to have your money sitting in your pocket and not spent, right? Because opportunity always comes. And you're really going to hate life if you're in a bad deal and you want to get out. We had a lady the other day call us up on a house that she's trying to sell that is just a horrible deal. And she spent like 2 years flipping this house. And we were doing our due diligence on this thing. And it was a commercial property. She tried to get rezoned into a residential property in Richmond, and they wouldn't do it. So she flipped this thing as a house, and it's a commercial property. And so, she's about ready to, the lender's about ready to call the loan and, just foreclose on the deal because she can't get out because she didn't do her homework. She got into a bad deal. She thought she could, make something out of nothing, and she just spent all of her money and all of her time, and she's she's going to lose this deal, and she's going to probably never flip again because this experience was so bad. Um, and it's your resources, man. You got to leverage your team. You got to reach out to groups like these. I mean, there's a lot of great groups. I mean, Dealmaker is the best group around, for sure. But we're not the only game in town. So and we are all members of other groups too. So reach out to your network, use your resources, and don't be shy about it. Right? If you got a problem, speak up, and just don't be afraid, right? I mean, because we've all, I mean, I just showed you that I did everything wrong on my first deal, everything wrong, and part of my business strategy now when we sell properties to other investors is I want to make sure that they're not going to repeat my mistakes, right? I mean, I would rather not do a deal with somebody that's new than do a deal that I know they're going to have a really hard time with. And I just it's like this is for an experienced investor. You need to find somebody to partner with, or you need to just wait for a better opportunity. Because I mean, I don't want people to make those mistakes, and because it hurts your pride, it hurts your pocketbook, it's stress in your life. So yeah, it's about the numbers. Choose your team wisely, and don't be afraid to ask for help.
One of the things I really love about Forrest and his story is even on that first deal, he said he lost a bunch of money, but he still just kept grinding it out and he got to the finish line. A lot of times when I see people that have an issue with a deal, they like just freeze and they stop. They don't like keep going. And I think sometimes that's like one of the most important things that we can do as investors, as when we do have those tough times, like just face it, fix it, like admit it, quit it, and kind of make that happen. So if you're in the middle of that, just keep that in mind. Amelia, can you make sure that Jim is unmuted here? I think Jim's going to close us out a little bit, but I do want to remind everybody of the new Deal Maker discount program that we have coming up. Or I shouldn't say we have coming up. We're actually we're actually live and ready to go right now with this Deal Maker discount. So if you guys are interested in that, for right now, we're just going to have you guys either fill out a form or give your information. If you're a Deal Maker leader, we want you to make sure that you're rolling this out to your groups as a big benefit of being a part of the Deal Maker community as well. But it's really going to help you save
Tom,
money.
what we need is, I think, name, email, phone number, and business name that matches like your
Yep.
Lowe's Pros app.
Yep. If you guys could get us that, Amelia's going to put a link that will easily get that for you guys in the chat here. Or if you guys just want to give that in the chat, or just get it to me or Jim, and we can really help you guys with that. And then also, if you guys need specific discounts on specific products in the Lowe's house or in the Sherwin-Williams, also get with me as well, because we are trying to negotiate for all of our people. You're never going to get like as good of a deal as you want, but every 5, 15, 20% like really does make a big difference especially if you're talking about volume. So I just want you guys to work to think about that and know that it's coming. Thank you, Forrest, for being vulnerable. Sometimes I know it's a little tough to kind of, show everybody about, your wounds, but I think it's really helpful, especially to new people.
Yeah, I mean, if you take nothing else away from this, is you have to surround yourself with a good group of people. You have to be involved, and you have to communicate. So, and you have to learn, right? I mean, I could have very easily quit and just said, this business ain't for me, and gone back to contracting, and I'd be okay. But I was just determined or stubborn enough to keep moving forward.
That's good. It's awesome. I apologize, folks. We are having problems with the muting and unmuting today. I think there you go, Jim.
No, it's great. I always say, Tom, in Forrest, the key to failing is failing quick and getting recovered fast. Because my first big failure in Jamestown, New York, Tom, took me 10 years. I kept working corporate America for 10 years. And that's the wrong approach. When you fail, fail quick and recover really fast.
Absolutely. Does anybody have any questions? Anything that Forrest could help with? Forrest, you did say that I think you kind of touched on it, but you really kind of didn't dig too deep into it. I kind of wrote down a couple questions. The first question was I was wanting to know if you could go through that whole seller finance. And then the second one is, what are some of those things that you learned from, staging other people's houses that you kind of feel like has really helped you, know what to do and what not to do? Because I think we all run into that trap. We all at times want to over improve, and at all, I mean, I know we do. Sometimes we want to over improve, and then sometimes we get to listing, and I feel like it's not quite there. And the ones that I feel like are tip top are the ones that sell fast, and then the ones that we don't quite do all the things that you said we don't have to do are the ones that sit a little bit longer. And I do think I did want to mention this. I feel like part of this is market driven, and you are in Richmond, which is still a hot market even today. But there are other parts of the country that's not always like that.
Well, I think you need to flip to the neighborhood. That's one thing, right? And just to be frank about it, right? You need to, when I say that, you need to look around at, who's living there, and then also the value of the home. So you need to flip to to that neighborhood, bring it up to the level of that neighborhood, and then, but really, right? Good enough is good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? It's a used house, and it's always going to be a used house. So good enough is good enough. I stay away from the older homes that other people are willing to tackle, because, I mean, there's a lot of problems in those homes, right? There's no insulation. The building practices aren't practiced anymore. Nobody knows how to do it. So I just kind of that's another thing, right? I don't complicate things for my contractors, right? I mean, I know that the painter's going to paint, and I don't try to get him to do a bunch of drywall. Right? I've made that mistake before, right? I get a drywall guy, so don't have the electrician do the plumbing. I've made that mistake before. So just, but good enough is good enough, right? I mean, if that wall has, if you can see a couple of the spots, don't spend all your time trying to get all the spots out. Uh, uh, there's all kinds of tips and tricks, but good enough is good enough. It it'll be fine, right? You'll live to flip another day if you just leave some things alone. Another good thing, another good interesting point is had a home appraiser one time. I was telling him, I said, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and he goes, don't do that. He said, leave something for the homeowners to do, the new owners to do. Let them do some personalization. You don't have to do everything. Leave that alone. Just don't do that. And I was like, okay, and he was right. But seller financing, right? Let's touch on that. We could go down that all day long. Or creative structuring. So I was just at an event in Texas a couple of weeks ago, and I was able to spend some time with Eddie Speed one on one, and um, he was talking about what his no buyers are buying right now, and he was saying you need to leave these sub twos alone, and you need to just go and pay off the underlying with a private lender, and the underlying debt, pay off the private get the private lender to pay off the debt, and then get the seller to create a second for some small amount. And he said, those notes, are easy to sell. He said, but these sub twos are kind of hard to sell right now, especially with all the excitement for them. We do those. We do those well. We do those as proper as possible through our attorney. But there's all kinds of ways to get in a deal that may not, the cash offer may not necessarily work. And we recently did a sub two deal this year that we ended up flipping. I was going to hold, but we ended up flipping it, and we flipped it in 3 months, and we almost I don't know, we bought it at 150, sold it at 280. So within 3 months. And we did less than $20,000 worth of work, and it was a sub two deal that we got in for no money down because I used a private lender for the second. That's another thing, right? Let's say you got a sub two with a $20,000 down payment. how many people have small dollar IRAs that come to these events and they go, I don't know where to put my money. I don't know what to do. I only got 20,000. I only got 30,000 in this IRA. So, you can put these small dollar ones to work all the time on seconds and they're happy. And there's just all kinds of ways to it. We can talk about that all day.
That's awesome. And again, where did you learn all this stuff at?
So I started my rabbit hole at Deal Maker, in 2015. That was my first event, and I still have friends and people that we do business with through that event. And you know, um, I, I don't know what to say. I mean, it changed our life. I mean, I am the guy drinking the Kool-Aid for Deal Maker. So thank you, Jim. Thank you for that.
Well, thanks for being a friend for a long time and starting with your father, continuing through your awesome wife. So thank you.
Likewise. Likewise.
Well, awesome. This has been a great call. I appreciate you, Forrest, for investing in our community.
Hey, Tom, just let me mention real quick, if somebody's in an area without a Deal Maker meetup and you'd like to start one, I'll put the link into the chat for that as well, because that website is now up.
Awesome. I know Rick and Terry were somewhat interested in Houston, and I know Brian Burnett was interested in Alabama. So
we have probably 8 or 10 locations right now that I've been talking to.
So awesome.
So we'll see which ones start the first, but it includes, let's see, Philadelphia, Chattanooga, Idaho, Green Bay, and others, Houston and others.
Atlanta.
So these, I'm just talking about brand new ones. I know we already have like Eric's in Atlanta and others doing a really good job.
Awesome. Well, cool.
Well, if I can say one more thing. So, we have, Dealmaker Richmond. I see, a couple of our members here. And, I want to make mention that we don't only do the, in-person event the first Thursday of the month. The middle of the month, the second Thursday of the month, we do an online event. And this week, so what we do on the online event is 30 minutes to an hour, depending on, how long I feel like talking. And we basically deep dive, something that I liked about the in-person event at the beginning of the month. So this month, we're going to be talking about the Fatherhood Foundation. So one of our members, Mark Wilson, he spoke about, he's on the board of this Fatherhood Foundation, and what it is. They talk about, the growing need for, active fathers in young children's lives. And he said that in the Richmond area, 57% of all children born right now are to unwed family. So there's a real crisis of lack of fathers in the home. So he's going to talk on Thursday. He's going to talk about that, and they do a Father Christmas drive right now. And so we're going to unpack that and go a little deeper on that. So I hope I can see some people there. It'll be a Facebook Live event, and it's in our Dealmaker Richmond group.
Awesome.
I love it. And I just put in the chat. I mean, one of the things I love about Dealmaker is the values of generosity and the way that people give. So thanks for leading that for us. And I know Eric's done some similar things in Atlanta. I love it.
Great. There was one question for you, Forrest. I don't think we got to. How do you find great contractors? It's so hard to find good talent.
Absolutely. Sure is. Right. And
I mean, I'll take that one. I think the best way to
go
find
ahead.
it is referrals from other investors.
Yeah. Good.
Agree.
The best thing I'll say
is time, and you got to build your team. You got to build a culture. And that takes time, and you got to sometimes swap them out when you're beginning. So like in Virginia, I've been doing this a really long time. It's very easy here. But when I started operating in Florida and I had to find brand new people, that's a lot more challenging.
Right. And I just think you always have to be hiring and always have to be firing, basically. So never stop looking at contractors.
My dad had a had a great analogy for this, right? And he was in his electrical contracting business, and we took it through, real estate as well. But he said, you have a sports team, And the kicker's great this year, and then he got injured in the offseason. Now you need a new kicker, or this quarterback is in a funk, right? So we have to swap him out. You're always changing the team up. You're always looking for better. In a contractor world, they get greedy, right? They take advantage of you after a certain amount of time. They change, right? They change. They're humans, right? And humans go through seasons of life. So yeah, you're always, like in our business, right? You're always recruiting. You're always looking for good talent, right? You never stop.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well, awesome. Unless Jim's got anything else to finalize with us. Thank you, Forrest, for coming on again today.
Thank
And
you.
see everybody next month with Lisa J. If I can get that on here, I guess I can't get it on here. It's not working.
Looks good. Thanks, Tom, for sharing that link to your Facebook as well. Eric, good to see you as well today. You guys are looking good. Yeah, I think it was great. I think flipping is a great way to create active income. There's a lot of things you can do right, and a lot of mistakes you can make along the way. But I've been doing it a long time, so I've made all the mistakes imaginable.
Absolutely. Yep. So next month with Lisa J, December 17th. If we don't get to hear from any of you guys between now and then, have a happy Thanksgiving, and remember to be thankful for everything that you've been given this year and all the blessings that we do have. A lot of times we get discouraged on things we don't have, but I bet you most of us, if we were to look back 20 years and think about what we had then and what we have now and what things are easy now versus what was, easy for us then, we have a lot to be thankful for.
Yeah.
Just remember that as you go through your day to day and as you guys go through next week, especially. And remember to give thanks too. Don't just think about Thanksgiving about feeling thankful or being thankful or sitting in this essence of being thankful, but definitely tell somebody that you're thankful for them. Reach out to some friends, let people know what you're thankful for them, and also thank God above for everything that you've been given every single day. Well, that's it, right, Jim?
That's it, guys. Go out and make some deals. Thanks for helping host this today, Tom.
See you next month.
See you guys
Thanks,
later.
you guys. Have
Thank
a great week.
Y'all take care.